Welcome to MARE Day. I'd like to introduce Kellie, our board member, to kick us off.
Welcome, everyone. First of all, we are so glad you're here. Thanks so much for joining us on MARE Day. This is an exciting day for us. Not only is it our 18th birthday, but it is also a day for us to get all of you engaged and to get our donations up and running to hit our match. We've got an anonymous match going on today. We really need some donation to help us out and help us continue with ocean science. The ocean means a lot of things to a lot of people, but whether you're a fisherman, a scuba diver, a conservationist, whatever it is, we want to get you engaged. And today is a day for you to learn all about what's going on with the ocean science. So again, MARE is supporting intelligent ocean management, and we look forward to having a great day today. Thank you again for joining us, and have a great day. I'm going to turn it back to you, Natasha.
Thank you, Kellie. My name is Natasha Benjamin. I am the Policy and Outreach Director here at MARE, and wanted to thank everyone for being here today. We're very excited. We have a fun, packed ocean day. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what's coming. This morning, we're going to be kicking off with Dirk Rosen, our Executive Director, to talk about what MARE is doing. At 11 o'clock Pacific time, we will be discussing Blue Tech for Ocean Conservation with Brett Hobson from MBARI and Tierney Teese, a National Geographic explorer, and Dirk Rosen, our director. At 1 o'clock Pacific time, we will be having a discussion with Dr. Peter Ettenauer from NOAA and Andy Lauerman from MARE on deep sea corals and protecting the deep sea. At 3 o'clock, we will be talking to Lance Morgan with the Marine Conservation Institute about blue parks. And at 5 o'clock, we will be celebrating MARE's birthday. I hope you all join us to learn how to make a MARE garita. And cheers to MARE for our 18th anniversary. Please send us your questions in the live chat on YouTube. And I just want to thank all the MARE board and all of our speakers and everyone that made this possible today. And Dirk, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us. Yes, I'm Dirk Rose, and I'm the Executive Director and founder of this organization. A background in ocean engineering. What I discovered was the big data gap underwater is below diver depth. And that was an area that I had a lot of experience. So we built and have been deploying remotely operated vehicles now for 18 years, exploring this mystical and unknown ocean. And really realizing that you can't manage what you don't understand. And to understand this wild ocean ecosystem, you've got to go down and look. So over those 18 years, we've explored and documented more than 4,000 kilometers of seafloor. And that documentation is in the form of videos. So these become archives for future generations to see how the ocean was now. Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? During that time, we've ID'd to species level nearly 3 million fish and invertebrates. So an invertebrate would be something without a backbone like a squid. This is the result of 5,500 hours of high resolution video in the surveying of 450 different sites along the West Coast and Costa Rica. We kind of are trigger happy, so we're now up to 322,000 digital photographs, and that was over a period of 1,753 dives. And those dives can be as deep as 2,400 feet deep beneath the surface. So that's what we've been able to do by chipping away every year for 18 years. And just this year, it seems like things are taking off. We've already done a couple of weeks in Cocos Island off Costa Rica in support of Discovery Channel's Shark Week, trying to film the elusive tiger shark. Next up this month, actually, we're heading to Hawaii in support of their ambitious goal of 30% marine reserve, or what they call marine managed area, by 2030. We're going to fill in the deep water ribbon of area they are not able to explore, and feed that into their decision-making process about what to protect and what to fish. Then the following month in June, we start on our California statewide surveys at the Oregon border, ending in Mexico, where we're evaluating California's deep water marine reserves, and there's about 80 of them, and an accompanying fishable area nearby of similar habitat. We've been tracking those since our very beginning to see how they're faring. And then finally, we're working with the federal government in 2 different national marine sanctuaries, both in the San Francisco Bay Area, one the Gulf of the Farallones National Marine Sanctuary, and then the Cordell Bank National Marine Sanctuary. And we're going to go really deep for those expeditions on the order of 2,500 feet. So because of all the time we've spent subsea, it's resulted in huge amounts of protections of corals from deep sea trawling, which is a very destructive fishing technique. And also 2 years ago, discovery of our first new species, along with California Academy of Sciences. So these are what really makes everybody at MARE excited to do this work, is that we know we're doing something not just for now and better managing our oceans, but also for future generations. This year, we added to our fleet of vehicles. We had an incredible donation of a boat, a 38-foot motorized catamaran, and that's called the Tomcat. And we've been doing work both in San Francisco Bay on the water quality front, and then also down in Monterey, which we were down there 2 weeks ago doing some seafloor work and sea trials. We also built a new little portable ROV. This one in particular is going to Hawaii, having just done the surveys in Cocos Island. It weighs about 25 pounds. It's called the Mantis, and it's a very capable little crowdsourced, remotely operated vehicle with high definition camera and a little grabber arm. So again, in order to protect and manage our ocean, we need to understand it. And that's what MARE's work is all about. We thank all you supporters for having supported us through the years, and we encourage you to continue. There's so much to be done. Our oceans are 5% explored, and that is all we do. So please support our work, tell your friends, and let's keep this going. Let's head to 25 years. And so in conclusion, I don't know if there's any questions yet, but I did want to talk about an interview that we're doing with National Geographic explorer Tierney Teese and her husband, Brett Hobson, who's a senior engineer at the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute. This is an ocean power couple on both the PhD science side and the incredible ocean engineering side. So that is going to be very exciting for me to interview 2 friends of mine, but also I hope you find it very illuminating as well. So let's see. Now what I'd like to do is show you a video. So we have to get the timing right here. So I'm going to start at 3, 2, 1, and showcase really MARE's work. What does it do what do we do when we go out to sea? Well, we use typically ships of opportunity. Sometimes they're federal boats, sometimes they're recreational tuna boats like we're using this year. And we bring our robotic vehicles out to sea to remote sites that are too deep for divers to go. We often have accompaniment by dolphins and seabirds along the way. And in large part, this is pure exploration. Most of what we do, no one has ever seen this seafloor before. So we deploy a remotely operated vehicle with lights, cameras, water quality sensors, manipulator grabber, and we dive to the bottom of the ocean. This is what the control system looks like. This is me as a younger man. But this is what we get to see. We get to see corals and sponges and the habitat that supports a lot of not just critical creatures like apex predator sharks. And by the way, as a human species, we're killing 100 million sharks a year, mostly for their fins. And these are one of the guardian angels, if you will, that keep our ecosystems healthy by pruning off the animals that maybe are weak or shouldn't reproduce. Then we have crazy, interesting animals like the jumbo octopus, and you just wonder, gosh, how did you ever survive? And then their bigger cousins, the giant Pacific octopus, who in both cases, they don't seem to be afraid of our lights as we come down through the pitch dark. They seem in fact, they've even grabbed onto a camera lens in the past, and they allow us to witness them eating and going about their daily life. Uh, this was, I think, 2 years ago, we saw our first ever blue shark with the remotely operated vehicle. Typically, we don't see them. Their numbers are way down, but also they're pretty sensitive. But this particular one let us have a good long viewing. Of interest of late has been really the canary in the coal mine of deep sea corals and sponges. Not only are they spectacularly beautiful, but we have seen some die-offs, and we're trying to work with Peter Etnoyer, a NOAA scientist who will be talking later today about what they can tell us about ocean conditions in terms of perhaps temperature and acidity. Here's a black coral, and you can see it's habitat for a lot of little arrow crabs. It's also little fish are are hiding in there, because when you're little, you're breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And so these are critical pieces of ecosystem for smaller animals, and provide still to be determined ecosystem functions. And that's part of what we're working to protect, is understand these organisms and what we need to do to help them recover, such as this giant black sea bass. Now, here's a piece of technology for you. If you can see the video, there's shimmering in the bottom. That is water coming into our underwater camera. But we were so close to this giant black sea bass, we just pressed on in the hopes that the whole thing wouldn't flood and short out, and we barely made it. Then we quickly rushed to the surface. This is a fishable area in Southern California, a real hot spot of abundance. We're not exactly sure why, but we stumble upon these from time to time, and it's very heartwarming. We also see rare animals like this is a California Pacific Electric ray. They shock their prey with 20,000 volts, so they have no predators at all. There are not many of them, but they're really easy to film because they're very slow. And then we'll at times come across incredible coral reefs. And these are not tropical. These are deep water off the state of California. And the bookend of that is some of these reefs, in fact, some of my favorite reefs have disappeared. We had some warm water events that we think, along with Peter Etnoyer of NOAA, have taken out some of these reefs, and we're hopeful cold water will return and they'll come back. The wolf eel, which is really a fish, this guy was a little bit aggressive, and it's not too often that we see him out in the open, but they're pretty magical creatures in and of their own. And then back to the giant Pacific octopus in a coral garden. Kind of sounds like a Beatles song, doesn't it? But that's some of the incredible animals and corals and things that we get to see by going down underwater for effectively months at a time. So we have an action-packed day for you. We hope to educate you and introduce you to some of our friends. I hope you tune in frequently and consider supporting MARE and the work we do and how it benefits us now, but also future generations and the ocean itself. So thank you very, very much for being with us today.
Thank you, Dirk. It's always a pleasure to see all these critters and to remind us why we're all here today, which is to discover and explore and protect the ocean. And we can't do this work without you guys. As Dirk said, and as Kellie said, we have reached 65% of our fundraising goal today. We have a ways to go, but we're getting there. We're very excited. So please go to our website and support MARE, support ocean science. This work is critical more than ever. And now we're going to have a little bit of a MARE movie time. We're going to show 3 videos, so please stay tuned. We're going to show a video about our new boat, the Tomcat, and the work that we're doing in San Francisco Bay. We're also going to show a video about research that we did with the California Department of Fish and Game and fishermen on California sea cucumbers and the fishery around that. And then we're also going to show a video about the monitoring that we're doing in San Francisco Bay. So I'm going to turn it over to the videos. There'll be about 10 to 15 minutes of videos. And then please come back at 11 to continue our ocean discovery. Thank you.
Welcome to the Tomcat. It's a 38-foot catamaran, aluminum, built like a fortress. It does up to 30 knots and gets us from point A to point B very quickly. All right, all aboard! It's our new platform that we're going to be deploying a host of our own robotic systems for surveying and videoing the seafloor, as well as working with other groups to do water quality assessments in San Francisco Bay and other places along the California coast. Here we are in the Richmond Harbor. We're just exploring where we might want to do some video surveys with our newest remotely operated vehicle. This is what MARE does, is we do seafloor reconnaissance with robotic submarines. We survey areas, find out who's living where, and then document that. And especially, we're looking at change over time. Are things improving? Is the ocean health and seafloor biology and ecosystem improving? Is it staying the same? Is it getting worse? And in order to do that, you really have to have eyes on the seafloor and track it over time. This Tomcat will allow us to do that, to be able to go back to places we've surveyed previously and see how they've changed.
Spikes here are actually quite pronounced, and it's one of the reasons why the species is so desired overseas for its appearance, and also the reason why it gets the name Florida sea cucumber.
The sea cucumber fishery is a really unique fishery for California. We work with the fishermen, the nonprofit community, the philanthropic community, agency partners, the academic community, all working together to get information about the fishery. Fishermen are a critical role in everything we do. They're the eyes and ears on the water. We work to make sure the science also works with the fishermen and doesn't impact their ability to make a living from the resource.
Years ago, fishermen had kind of a contentious relationship with Fish and Game, but nowadays that's changed tremendously. Carlos came on the scene a few years ago. He came on with enthusiasm, and that's good to see that, you know, some attention was being given to this fishery.
The Warty sea cucumber dive fishery started off Catalina Island in the 1980s, and it was really of minor commercial importance until about 2010, when the fishery really took off. And this was all driven by increases in demand, primarily from Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Korea.
Around 2011, the sea cucumber market really started to increase. It seemed like every week there's like a new buyer. And then around 2014, 2015, we were starting to see some signs of overfishing. Fish and Game really got serious about looking at our fishery and saying, why is this happening? Why are the landings going down? And that's when the discussion began. Does something need to be done about the sea cucumber resource?
We have many concerns over the health of the Warty sea cucumber dive fishery right now. It is showing the same trajectory as many of the fisheries around the world that have resulted in basically serial depletion. It can no longer support a sustainable fishery. We use scuba-based surveys to monitor the populations of Warty sea cucumber on a seasonal basis, both inside and outside marine protected areas. Without MPAs, we wouldn't be able to determine these seasonal fluctuations. So they play an extremely valuable tool in our monitoring. Where our data sets and the national parks data sets kind of merge and work together is the fact that we have a very long-term idea of the trends of Warty sea cucumber around basically the heart of the fishery.
We were seeing changes in populations over time. And the fishermen were telling us that, well, the sea cucumbers move. And well, the fishermen were right, but we didn't know where they were going. That's where MARE comes in. MARE typically does ROV work below where fishermen are diving and below where biologists are collecting data for research.
Having multiple data sets gives you a much more comprehensive picture of what's happening, and it also can reaffirm each data set. So when MARE comes in with our robotic technology and is able to collect data a little bit deeper, we can reaffirm what the divers are seeing or say, something's off here.
Without data, we would not have really justification for enacting measures for this fishery. The stakeholders rely on this resource to make a living.
This type of research and monitoring is extremely important to the public. They're resources for people to go to the park and enjoy just a view, but they're also important for Fish and Wildlife to manage the fisheries in the state of California so we have sustainable fisheries.
This project has been a great example of what a collaborative project can look like, and we're really excited about how the department was able to bring together all of these players to create a project that's very effective in terms of managing our resources.
Now it's great that they're collecting data, we're assisting them with that, and I don't mind telling them where I'm fishing or how much I'm getting. I think sometime down the line, someone will benefit.
I would like to have a small part in bringing together my fellow cucumber fishermen to forge this productive relationship to eventually create a fishery that's sustainable and profitable in the long term.
This is a species that is extremely unique, and we do not have a lot of information for it. So working together is going to be absolutely essential to the future management of this fishery.
Finding that balance between conservation and sustainable use is one of the most challenging things we do at the department. Hopefully this fishery will be around for a very long time, and this research is the first step in ensuring a long-term sustainable fishery.
I hope you enjoyed the videos. We're excited to share our work, and we will be sharing our work all day today. So please tune back in at 11 a.m. Pacific. Same channel, same place. See you soon. Thanks.